Hello, welcome to my channel, another Bibliophile Reads. My name is Greg, and today I'm going to be doing a response to a video from Jack at Spread Book Joy. Her video is called, Can You Read Too Much? And in that video, she talks about how much she reads and how she wants to do other things besides just reading. And I decided I'm going to throw in my 2 cents on this subject because compared to most people in this world, I read an awful lot. Most days, I read 3 to 4 hours, somewhere in that neighborhood. Some days it's a little more, some days it's a little less. I'm not a particularly fast reader, but I do read on a very regular basis, so I get through a lot of books. I read a lot because that's my favorite thing to do. I do have some other slight hobbies. I like to go for walks every morning. Half hour to an hour is typical. If I don't get my walk in the morning, I'm really rather cranky because I like to walk. But while I'm walking, I am almost always listening to an audiobook. So you can count that as a reading time too. But other than that, I don't do a whole lot. Now, I live in a retirement community, and I know my friend Alan at Big Hard Books and Classics says if he lived in this community, he would be up at the community lodge a lot. Because at my community lodge, there are people playing billiards, they're playing pool, they're playing mahjong, and other card games. Now, the only thing for me is if I had the option of playing cards and watching paint dry, I really might choose watching paint dry. I don't know what it is. I just don't really like playing cards that much. So when I have my druthers, I pick up a book and I read, either in print or on my Kindle. Now, that is not the only thing I do, of course. Just the other night, one of my neighbors invited me out go out for some beers. And he invites me out to go out for some beers because I take care of his cat, and I don't charge him for taking care of his cat. So he treats me to a beer and a burger when he goes away and I take care of his cat. So, I do get out and I socialize somewhat. But I wouldn't want to do that every day. I'm really not a very sociable person. I am much happier sitting at home in my house with my wife and my cats and my books and my Kindle. So I get an awful lot of reading done. When I go on travel, some of my favorite travel is like when I go to Mexico and sit on the beach, I bring my Kindle. Now, when I go to travel in Mexico, yeah, I do visit the interesting sites. I would visit Chichen Itza or Tulum. Those are the architectural sites of the Aztecs, and those are fantastic places to visit. But they're also fantastic to read about. And in some cases, reading about them is just as interesting as going to the actual place. So, do I read too much? No, I don't think I read too much. Some people might think I read too much, but that's just them because they have more interests than I do. Could I have more interests? Perhaps. Part of it is just where I live. I live in Virginia. I live about 60 miles south of Washington, D.C. I can get to Washington, D.C. on the train. Takes a little over an hour, or I could drive up there and take a little over an hour and half hour find a parking spot. So driving to DC really isn't on the car, they said in the cards because once you get up there, you're in a bad mood. Now taking the train It's fine because you can relax on the train, you can read a book on the train, you can listen to an audiobook on the train. But, the round trip train is $22, so I don't go up that often. And also that the train, turns into a pumpkin at about 5:30. So I can't go out in the evenings to DC. It's only limited to what I can do during the daylight hours, or the working hours, I should say. If I wanted to go see a symphony, I'd have to drive out there. And honestly, as I said, if you're driving someplace for an hour, you're just going to always, I'm going to be in a rather bad mood once I get out of my car, because driving is just not a pleasurable experience. And in my local area, yes, they do have some music events, but most of that involves people singing. I prefer my music strictly instrumental, some piano music, some symphony music, some chamber music. Singing has its time and its place, but not my preferred music of choice. So down here in Fredericksburg, just not a lot of musical choices, not a lot of art museums close by. So what else do I have to do besides read more? And to be perfectly honest, I am totally happy spending the whole day with a book, my cats, and my wife. So maybe I could find other things to do, or maybe not, because I am totally content with the amount of reading that I do. And honestly, sometimes I think I don't do enough reading, because when you wake up in the morning, you say, I have all day to read. Let me putz around and get some things done. And you finally figure out that you've been putzing around for a couple hours when you could have been reading. Well, anyway, that's what I say. I say, I don't read too much. Your mileage may vary. And if it does, make your own response video. People will be interested to hear what you have to say. Thank you for watching, and keep on reading as much as you want to.